Hello, I'm Peter Guber.
And I'm Peter Bart, and this is Shootout. So, Pete, we were in Hawaii together, thanks to your hospitality, and both of us were diligently trying to catch up with the serious movies of this past year. And as an escape, I found myself turning on local television. I love Hawaii local news because, they're so cheerful. They'll say, there were 3 murders and 2 rapes in downtown Honolulu, but the surf was great and the sun is shining bright. I mean, everything is very upbeat. But I was thinking, if TV as an escape for me, just about everybody in the feature business really is turning to television career-wise as an escape. I mean, when you think of the most important producers like Jerry Bruckheimer and Brian Grazer, or the hot young producer-directors like J.J. Abrams, or the stars, the Holly Hunters and Kira Sedgwicks, more and more people are really going from features to television, which is the opposite of when you and I started. Remember, there was the feature people and the TV people, and boy, you didn't crack one sanctum sanctorum.
But why do the feature folks seem to move to TV now? You mentioned all the names. There are many, many more, too.
Yeah.
What is it? Power, control, money, enterprise value? Think about it. In television, the producer, writer is the king. In the movie business, the business that we grew up in, well, we were lucky to have tickets to the premiere and talk to the director only on his terms. This is a completely different shift for them, and it's a really interesting shift. Secondly, it's very fast. Television is so much faster. You have the idea in theatrical features, and 3 years later it comes out, and the world has changed. And television is very, very quick. The idea that you have an opportunity for the writer to develop a voice in a cable or a television show over a period of time, really get around the character. So they are playing it very interestingly. They're almost looking like movies. Even if you look at AMC with Mad Men, it looks like a movie. It's photographed like a movie. It has a tonality of a movie. So you're seeing this blending. I am concerned, from my perspective as a filmmaker, that the audience will be weaned to this type of fare, and that the specialty fare, which will be downloaded more quickly, will have trouble competing.
Well, Variety has an all-star critic named Brian Lowry who actually uniquely covers both television and film with the same sardonic gaze. And let's get his point of view comparing these two media.
Does that mean because he's a journalist he can be wrong about both mediums?
Yeah, precisely, but you better ask him.
Okay.
Right.
Peter?
So AMC is launching this new series, their second new series, Breaking Bad. It requires a particular attitude, forget aptitude, of patience. Patience to advertisers and patience for ratings. Do they have that kind of patience?
Well, they don't need a lot of people to have that kind of patience. The great thing about cable right now is that they can get by with niche shows, with shows that hit with a relatively narrow but loyal audience. And in the same way with Mad Men, which I really thought was the show of the year this past year. But I would say if you look at the totality of what's being done for television now, which really is in a golden age of dramatic series, and the totality of film, I think pound for pound there are probably more good, recommendable television series on than there are films out there. That's another big part of this too, which is you watch those television shows now the same way you watch a lot of those movies, which is at home on maybe a 50 or a 60-inch high-definition set.
That's what's changing the rules, is that everything is on demand now. And that, indeed, as that is pursued over the next few years, when everything is on demand, you wonder how movies, indeed, can sustain themselves. That theater experience, unless you have the world's most beautiful screening room at home, it's hard to motivate yourself to go out.
Which means you're going to see more tentpoles and franchise and big pictures. They can't be replicated even on a 60-inch screen.
Events.
More, the Roman numerals are coming, the Roman numerals are coming. More and more of that, like this past summer, and yet the tough slogging of the specialty films may increase.
Well, what was interesting with the television lineup this past year is television tried to do some bigger, more action-oriented series. The Bionic Woman, most of those failed. And I think it's because if you put that next to Transformers, it looks pretty pale. But what television does do immensely well is take a character and develop it and let you stay with that character over 10 episodes or 12 episodes or 100 episodes. So I think in a way what you're seeing is right, is that there'll be a tentpole business in features, and in television they should really exploit the advantage they have, which is we can take a character, make you care about that character, and then bring you back to watch it week after week.
Thanks for coming in and talking to us about all this.
My pleasure.
Great. Up next, the director, the executive producer, and the star of the new AMC series, Breaking Bad. So, Pete, I know your relationship with Mark Johnson goes back to Donnie Brasco, and before that, to Rain Man.
Right. Mark Johnson is a very successful producer of theatrical motion pictures. He's now producing Chronicles of Narnia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, I think it is. And a wonderful executive producer of the new AMC series, Breaking Bad.
Pièce de résistance. A round bottom boiling flask, 5,000 milliliters. Now, this is a volumetric flask. You wouldn't cook in one of these.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't. Did you learn nothing from my chemistry class?
No, you flunked me. Remember?
So, Mark, welcome. Last time I saw you, it was in the Czech Republic, and you were doing the sequel to Narnia, and you were reliably reported as the biggest single employer in Eastern Europe at the time. Now, here you are wearing a different hat as executive producer of a TV show. You are comfortable in a lot of hats.
I think it's first of all, it's a pleasure to be here. I've been watching you two for some time, and I thought I had misgivings about ever doing the show because some people you're very kind, but you're not afraid to go to the meat of the matter. So every now and then I thought, oh, I'm going to get skewered here. No, the truth of the matter is...
He'll get you sometime.
Will he? When I start to feel comfortable and they come after me. Good. I love television, and I love it for the reasons that most, I think, film producers tell you. The first, number one, of course, is just the speed. The fact that we can sit here and come up with an idea, and then you can have a script and be shooting it in 6 weeks from now. And in the feature business, it would probably take 3 months for the lawyers to start to talk and to start to make a deal, and by then you've even forgotten what you've sold or who's going to write it. And in TV, if that deal's not made in about 5 days, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you go to AMC? I mean, they have one series on the air, Mad Men, and they're essentially a movie channel, one scripted series.
Right. Their first series, AMC's, was in point of fact this series. They've had their illustrious, unscripted series.
Forgot about that one.
Right. But there you go to that cable network when there's no history there. How did that work, and why did you go to AMC?
Quite frankly, they came to us, and I was so flabbergasted at their embrace. This is a difficult show. This isn't your obvious or standard TV show. It can be quite upsetting, and it certainly has its dark moments, and made even darker when comedy is thrown into the middle of it. And I used to think all the time, we've got to try and make this central character a little bit more sympathetic. And this is my experience with features and probably with network television. And they would say, no, are you crazy? Don't do that. And why don't you have him sleep with his sister? I'm exaggerating, but it was just sorts of things you would say, well, where does that come from? And so I have to say it was really exciting to have AMC get what the show is and not try in any way change it or soften it or put it through a filter.
What are you doing? Those, you're keeping those on, right?
So, Pete, we are joined by Bryan Cranston, the star, and Vince Gilligan, the writer and director of Breaking Bad.
Welcome, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
to be
very
here.
much. Good to be here. This is about somebody who's a teacher who suddenly decides, finding out he's dying, he's going to create a crystal meth lab and sell crystal meth to people. And we know the dangers of that, to kids and the world. Did you have any regrets or any considerations about that before you took the bar?
No, I do it in real life anyway, so I thought it would be a good transition.
It's pretty good too, the stuff you make.
No, I was seduced by the brilliant writing. It's one of the best drama scripts I had ever read, and so I got castaway in the storytelling, and I was just so enthralled. I got on the phone right away with my agents and said, "Get me in, let me meet him again, and let's talk about
So
it."
at what point did you two meet?
We had actually met 10 years ago. I used to write for the TV show The X-Files, and we had this episode that I had written that we needed a very strong actor for. It was a very tricky part where this character needed to be really nasty and racist and bigoted and unlikable. And then by the end of the hour, we had to really like this guy. We had to really empathize with him and grow to understand him. And we saw a lot of great actors, and one day, but no one was quite right. And then one day, Bryan Cranston walks in and just blew us all away. And I'd never heard of him. This was before Malcolm in the Middle. And as soon as he left, I said, "Who is this guy?" And it turns out I'd been seeing him for years in movies and TV shows, and he's a real chameleon.
I would like to know why no one seems to be working in this cafe. Looking around. Is it the strike? Is that what's going on?
So I guess it's always the case when you meet an actor. You say, looking and talking to you, there's absolutely no relationship with the character in this show. I mean, did you have to really go through a lot of self-examination in order to get keyed up for this character?
Interesting. I gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So I was eating anything in sight. You know, I thought that this character was probably gone to seed and allowed himself to expand, you know, and he's the kind of guy who I think everybody can relate to, at least knowing someone who has lived their life with regrets and came close to many, many things and just didn't quite reach for his own personal brass ring. And so as an actor, subjectively going into a character, you never want to think of, I'm approaching this as a loser. It's always what is the best that this character can do? What is the height of it? Now maybe his ceiling is very low, but you know, it's a man who has a tremendous regret, and that informed the rest of his life.
I mean, you invented this character and you inhabited him. I mean, just the idea that you are inhabit the persona of someone who has terminal cancer. I mean, how do you prepare yourself for something like that?
You know, the interesting thing for actors is that the more guideposts and the more well-written the script is, really the less work an actor has to do. You know, you see it, and it just kind of comes to you, and then all of a sudden, because it's so well-written, you start daydreaming about it, and you start having dreams in the middle of the night. I wake up and I start writing notes about it because it becomes, you know, a part of your soul, really.
You know, going back to another point, the writer, you're a big fan of writers, being a writer yourself. The idea that the voice can be so clear in television. In a movie, the scripts get written over and over and over. This body and Fenderman come in and put comedy in, then they put the action person in, then the special effects person in.
Right.
And suddenly, that original voice gets lost. And that's what's so compelling about a television program or a cable program like this, is that you can see the singularity of voice in it.
Yeah, you must appreciate that.
No, you know, you guys are right. It's exactly what it is for me. It's too much time is spent making movies. There's too much time to screw it up. The best, and you know, every movie that gets made, it's only the very best of intentions are there at the outset. These are people who want nothing more than to succeed and make the greatest work of art ever. But it's just too much time is spent second guessing and triple guessing and quadruple guessing. And in TV, there's not enough time often. The paradox is not enough time to get it right, but not enough time to screw it up either.
Have you second-guessed yourself at any point, saying that I'm going in the wrong direction, or it's getting too dark, or something like that? Have you done any U-turns?
I have, but you just, at a certain point, you just have to commit. You just have to jump off the cliff, because there's
Because the show, I notice, it gets dark, but then there's a brilliant sense of humor that also animates it periodically. I always wonder what the mechanism is there. Is that you?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's very common. I mean, some of the scenes that don't often jump off the page turn out to be the most important. Like for me, the scene where I'm first teaching in the classroom is really important to me, because I wanted the audience to sense that at some point there was a fire in this man about the world of chemistry, and over the years of facing apathy from these students, that fire is now a pilot light, and it's been doused, and hopefully that feeling of support will carry through, and maybe even, excuse what I'm about to do.
My father taught chemistry. He was still a lot more lively than he.
Oh, is that right?
Thanks for coming.
Thank
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks for having us.
And great good luck. And luck plays a part in success.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
let's keep your fingers crossed.
We know that. Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The agents sent the script to AMC, and I was like, AMC, why don't you just send it to the Food Network? This was before Mad Men and before I realized that AMC was doing scripted programming. Lo and behold, they wanted to make the pilot. So I was thinking, what are you going to want to file down? What kind of sharp edges you want to, file down? And nothing. They wanted to keep it as is.
You made rejection into success.
They made rejection a success. I just was along for the ride.